Good, David. Thanks for having me on the channel today. It's great to chat about FBA and everything Amazon sellers.
That's amazing. So thanks for being here for, finding the time to have this very short interview with us. We really are getting busy right now interviewing a lot of people and a lot of businesses in this Amazon FBA, buy and sell business. There's a
Mm.
huge marketplace now, what is it, over $10 billion market cap of, selling and buying Amazon FBA businesses. This is amazing. So you're working with Flippa. You're the CEO of Flippa. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So again, my name's Blake. I'm the CEO of Flippa. Flippa is the number one marketplace to buy and sell online businesses. FBA businesses are included in that mix. And we basically invented the space. We started 12 years ago. We've been trading online businesses in a marketplace environment for that whole time. And we see probably more buyers and business owners than anyone else in the industry. I joined the business 3 years ago as the CEO to drive a growth vision. And we have a very big vision. Our vision is to be the investment bank for the 99%. Our vision is to provide a pathway to exit and empower business ownership for small businesses and small business owners all over the world. FBA is one of our asset types that can list on the marketplace. And I suppose one of the most unique things about Flippa is we are kind of agnostic in the way you sell. Mm-hmm. So you can sell directly and use all of our tools, list the asset yourself with the assistance of our merchandising team, meet buyers on the platform, and engage with them through the offer and negotiation stage, as well as use our integrated tools like Flippa Legal, Flippa Due Diligence. We even have financing tools for our buyers. And then finally, we have integrated escrow, which is free of charge for all of our sellers. The other opportunity that people have when they sell on Flippa is to tap into a network of over 40 brokers worldwide. So brokers use the Flippa platform to access our buyer base. It's definitely the biggest buyer base in the world, with over 1,000 new buyers joining every day. And so we have an unparalleled reach. And so as a result, you can sell directly or you can leverage our broker network to tap into that buyer base. So it's a really interesting business.
Damn, you are like the holy grail of the online selling businesses marketplace. So this is great. But let's get back for a second where you started. You say Flippa started 12 years ago.
Correct. Flippa started 12 years ago. We're 12 years old. We've been trading online businesses through our marketplace platform for 12 years.
Do you remember, or do you know, because you joined the company 3 years ago, do you know what was the first business that Flippa has sold and for how much?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that question, but the story is this. Flippa is a spin-off of a developer community called SitePoint. So SitePoint is 20 years old, and there were two communities operating on SitePoint. One was design orientated, and that became the business 99 Designs. And so 99 Designs spun out of SitePoint. The second community, which was clearly a growing community within the SitePoint developer environment, was people were trading apps. They were trading source code. They were trading websites. They were trading blogs. And in the early days of e-commerce, they were trading e-commerce stores. And so the founders were smart in the sense that they recognized that there was a community that was flourishing. And so they spun that out into a standalone business. So there's the first business that sold on SitePoint, and there's the first business that sold on Flippa. They're two different things because they evolved over different time periods. Needless to say, lots of different businesses of all different sizes have traded over 12 years.
Yeah, that's amazing because I feel like you're part of this huge marketplace that has been going on for a very long time. And we're seeing this now, for example, not only, the emerging marketplace of Amazon FBA businesses with aggregators, but also, for example, NFTs. And, this is now the new trend. So it would be really cool to track, for example, the NFTs, it will be down, of course, how they're being sold and how the price increases. And you guys have been into this selling e-commerce businesses, online businesses for a long time. So you definitely know. So how did we get from e-commerce to FBA? How does it work now? You've probably been into the FBA space for a while now. So you, like us, you have been changing. You've seen it changing and evolving. I still remember when before there was no PPC ads, or there were no such things as there were less controls, less account suspensions. So where do you stand here? How did you see, evolving from e-commerce to Amazon FBA and the trend that is becoming right now?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting question, because Flippa has been selling FBA stores on Flippa since 2014, if I remember correctly. And so that's obviously some time ago now. And that was in the very early days. I should say 2017. My apologies. I'm just looking at the date when we launched the FBA category within the Flippa marketplace. So I think it's a natural evolution for e-commerce business owners to look at pathways of efficiency. And so FBA is clearly an efficient way of being an e-commerce business owner. I'm stating the obvious things that all of your listeners would be well aware of, but I think it's important to point out. One, you get to leverage the extraordinarily large user base that Amazon offers. Secondly, if you can optimize your product for sales, there is a strong, efficient pathway to call it an organic rank position, which is efficient in the long term in the acquisition of those customers. And then thirdly, the logistics framework that Amazon offers is unparalleled, and to try to mirror that yourself and take on that responsibility above and alongside all the other responsibilities you have as an e-commerce business owner would be very difficult. So how did we get here? Well, we got here because Amazon makes it easy. Why is there an aggregator environment, and why for a long time now have people been buying Amazon businesses? Well, they're easier to assess from a quality standpoint. So you have the powerful analytics backbone that is Amazon Seller Central. And from there, you can assess the quality of the asset. And that's a really important piece of buying an e-commerce business. And of course, what buyers are looking for is to tap into this extraordinarily fast-growing Amazon ecosystem worldwide, which means not only can the aggregators buy an asset which is performing well in the Amazon US environment, but they can leverage that knowledge, learning, and potentially transferability into the Amazon UK environment, the Australian environment, the South African environment, the Chinese environment. And so you've got this very, very, I wouldn't say simple, but easier to access global network than if you were to go at it yourself. And so it's not that unique, really, right? People have been buying and selling businesses for thousands of years. The only difference now is you get to utilize all of the leverage that comes with that powerful third-party network that is the Amazon ecosystem.
I love this. This is giving a very different perspective from, for example, from all the other guys in this industry that I've been interviewing so far. It really makes, I would say exactly like you, not easier, but it's more structured, and you're able to approach new marketplaces, and you have all of this analytics that before you didn't have, because you're right. Buying an Amazon FBA business today is much different from buying it in 2014 when I started, or in 2017 even, because a lot of things are different. And almost for sure that if a business is still alive today, it's because they operate in a proper way, in a good way, according to, terms and conditions of Amazon. So they're probably not, breaking the rules there. So it's good already. But, you have all the due diligence to do. So talking about due diligence, how do you actually, how does the process work? if a seller, let's say I'm an Amazon seller, I have my 6 to 7 figure business,
Mm.
and I'm interested in selling, and I'm thinking about contacting, a buyer, an aggregator. But why would I actually be in a better position if I would contact Flippa before, or if I would list my business with you guys?
Yep. I think there's a couple of things. First and foremost, it's not just the aggregators that are acquiring Amazon businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would always encourage a competitive process, and sellers need to do what's right by them. And typically what is right by them is leveraging the unparalleled reach of, say, a Flippa to access a large number of buyers and get a sense of what their value looks like by engaging with multiple buyers of different types. Point two, if you are interested in selling with an aggregator, Flippa has direct relationships with over 14 different aggregators. So they have contracted with Flippa to receive our deal flow, which means we can directly connect sellers with 14 aggregators instantly and get a competitive bidding process going for you. And so that's considered quite powerful from a sell-side standpoint. The aggregators, of course, would prefer to go directly because that means that they get to deal with you one-on-one. And of course, we understand why that is their preference. Probably the third thing is the same as selling any business. What you get when you sell with Flippa is two things. One, a process which is democratic. So lots of buyers see you, and therefore you've got the best chance of selling for the highest possible price. Point two, the tools are included. So not only do we have the world's lowest success fee for selling an FBA business, but you also get the integrated services. So you get Flippa Legal, and you get that for free. So you tap into the legal templates, which are there across all different asset types, including FBA. You get the integrated escrow service. That's free. So all of these things are included as part of the service. And so what you end up getting is an end-to-end platform that governs the sale for you. Plus, you can leverage either a Flippa agent or a third-party broker. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
That's amazing. So how does it actually work? How do you start communicating with the seller? How do you take them, by their hand from actually starting getting a potential evaluation to their business to seeing what's here, what's good, what's not, and then to until the end, like closing the deal actually with the aggregators or with whoever is the buyer?
Yep. So let's assume you use the, I guess, the Flippa Direct mechanism. Then essentially what happens is you hit the Sell Now button on the Flippa website, and you begin to build out the bones of your listing, and consider that a minimum viable listing. It is what you need to start to engage with the buying community. At that point in time, our review team will go through and verify the metrics and the financial and operational detail that you have exposed on your listing. From that point in time, you get to choose whether you want to be matched with a broker or whether you want to sell directly, and the choice is yours. Now, regardless of which you choose, the Flippa matching algorithm now takes control and takes over. So we will look at all of the data attached to your listing. We will look at the age, we will look at the revenue performance, we will look at the expense data, and therefore the net profit calculation. We will look at how many ASINs or SKUs you have. We will look at whether you're Amazon choice or not. We will look at whether you're private label or whether you're a reseller. We will look at which markets you operate in. And as a result of all of that data, we're then mapping that data to buyer preferences. So we're looking at the preferences of the FBA aggregators, but we're also looking at the preferences of the buyer ecosystem as a whole. And so very quickly, you start to get matches. And that's where we start to engage with the seller. And that's when the negotiation begins too. Buyers, you can protect your listing with an NDA, so a confidentiality agreement, or not. Regardless, a buyer will start to engage with you within probably 72 hours of listing your business on Flippa. And that's because we've got this powerful matching algorithm that's spinning its wheels and introducing you to the right buyers at the right time. I
love this. I remember that, I think it was a few years ago, I It was my friend Zach Franklin. Hello, Zach. He introduced this idea. He had this idea of Tinder for business matching. Like, and you guys are exactly this on steroids. Even bigger, because you're actually matching potential buyers with potential sellers.
Yep.
That's amazing. And now that we see this whole industry going on into Amazon FBA, this huge marketplace. So as you are supervising those matches, what do you think is the current trend of the market? What are the hottest categories or the hottest kind of businesses here? What would be the best to sell on Amazon right now? Maybe what would get the best multiples right now? Are the multiples the same for any business, or does it depend on the category, on the kind of business, or the structure?
Well, look, multiples are a function of buyer interest and demand, right? And so you can see Amazon businesses selling for in excess of 6 times right now. And you can see that where it's an aged asset, which has a very strong and solid history of financial and operational performance. You can see that where it's a category that is of interest to a specific aggregator, because remember, they have their existing portfolios. And some are stronger in home and garden, others are stronger in health and wellness, and others are stronger in toys versus outdoor and sports. And it depends, your ultimate valuation and sale price will depend on whether you find that sweet spot for that aggregator. And so there is no right answer as to which category, because each aggregator is at a different stage of their purchasing life cycle. And each aggregator is thinking about businesses and categories differently to the other. Now, you've got the safe hitting zones. So home and garden, health and wellness, fitness as a whole and as a category. Men's product, that's a nice niche right now, which is underutilized from an aggregator standpoint, or undercapitalized from an aggregator standpoint. But most importantly, it comes down to, most will look for their own brand products. They're looking for private label, own brands. Most are looking for few ASINs or SKUs, right? An aggregator doesn't want to buy something with 9,000 ASINs. They tend to be looking at assets but with between 1 and 10 maximum. And like any other business, they're looking for financial and operational performance over a consistent period of time, at least 12 months, preferably 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, this is definitely true. Instead of saying, this is the best category, or look at that one, you can give a overlook of what is hot right now, what is trending right now, what actually drives the most profit, at least at the aggregator's heights. And also, you're saying something that is very important. Different aggregators, different buyers might be stronger in a certain category just because their portfolio is structured in that way. And I can definitely, vouch for this. I can definitely agree, because we are working with a lot of aggregators, and we see that every aggregator is specialized in different categories. Or, as you said, you need to find your sweet spot in terms of not only your category and your products, but also your number of SKUs. How do you run your business? Because you don't want to do too much. You don't want to have too few of SKUs of the products. Because actually, I heard a lot of aggregators there are saying, oh, that business is amazing. There's a lot of profit, huge numbers, but it's too big for us. Because, the evaluation of the business would be too high for the money that they have right now, just to say in simple terms. So this is really great. The other thing
I would make sure people understand is it's not just the aggregators. The problem with having an aggregator-centric mindset, if you're a seller, not if you're in my business or in your business, but if you're a seller, the problem with an aggregator-centric mindset is it tends to mean you need to be within the top 10% of sellers. So you need to be doing $1 million plus minimum to be appealing. And if you are a business owner right now, an Amazon FBA seller, and you are contemplating an exit, you don't need to scale to that point if you are looking for an exit. There is a very large buyer pool looking for assets valued between $50,000 and $999,000, right? And so think about that in the context of what you're trying to achieve as a seller, because the aggregator community is really sexy to talk about and you're excited by it. I'm really excited by it. But there's a whole network of sellers out there who can benefit from accessing buyers who are not yet at that tipping point or that price point that matters.
This is really good because most of the service providers or brokers or even services similar to yours, like those kind of companies that actually make the sellers ready to be sold to the aggregators, they said, no, we mostly work with 7-figure sellers. If they're 6 figures, we don't even look at them. And this is really great because I have a lot of friends and clients and sellers that I know that are struggling to get from 6 to 7 figures. And I mean, sometimes it's really hard, especially with the limitations in stock replenishment that we have right now. International shipping fees that are going to the roof, and it's really hard. So it's definitely good to know that there is a platform out there that is so vast that actually virtually any kind of business, online business, and now especially a big part, coming from FBA business, is available and is welcome into this marketplace.
That's right. And also, if you're a diversified FBA business, so you're an FBA seller, but you recently expanded to include the Walmart ecosystem also. You're an FBA seller, but you're also selling direct. You're an FBA seller, but maybe you're also available through the Etsy channel, right? People need to understand that ultimately a diversified business is a business which is likely to be able to ride the bumps a little easier than something which is dependent on just one channel. And so there's a multitude of ways you can grow, and there's also a multitude of buyers that are interested.
Yeah, I guess it all depends. It's a free market. It depends on the buyer, on the seller. From one point of view, I personally advise try to focus on that single channel or on those few channels that actually gives you, the most profit, not even the most traffic or exposure, but the most profit, because you want to make your business appealing. But on the other side, also, if you're trying to look at the future, if you're just, listing your Amazon FBA business there, and you start opening, for example, your Walmart account, you start having a few sales, and Etsy, and then Shopify little by little, and you develop your business little by little with all that is needed to have a good business and later also good profit, then that's definitely a good thing. So do you have any advices right now for the seller who are even thinking about selling their business? What is the first thing they should do? What are the kind of mistakes that they should avoid, today? How can, Flippa actually open their eyes and help them to get a better deal?
Yeah. I guess the first thing is to ensure that you have your financials in order and you understand your financials well. And so it's not only your seller, your revenue data, but it's also your expense lines and what actually goes into accessing the product, where you get it from, the cost per unit, the landed cost, any marketing services and or fees that you're paying Amazon. Have a really strong grasp of that, because they're the first questions that buyers want to know. The second thing is ensure that the business is separated from your own personal finances, and if it's connected to your personal bank account, I would highly advise separating that out. If it's connected to your personal credit cards, I would highly advise separating that out. It just makes it a lot easier when it comes down to selling the asset. Now, of course, most people who own multiple assets will tend to optimize them all under one account. However, if you're only going to sell one asset, it's important to recognize what cost base or what revenue base is attributed to that one specific asset or business than others. And so try to get some sense of the separation there, the demarcation, and start to get that journaled by a bookkeeper or accountant. Probably the next thing is the supply chain. If you are running out of inventory and you are intending to sell, that's not a good selling position to be in. Buyers will tend to want to acquire your business when it is capable of continuing to run to at least the current performance. And so what we often tell our sellers is that, yes, buyers look for opportunity. Of course they look for opportunity. That's why they're in the market to begin with. but they don't pay for opportunity. They pay for performance. So if it looks like the business is dwindling, the business is declining due to supply chain issues, you want to try and fix those up pre-sale. Think about it as getting ready for sale. Get as much inventory as you can. The second thing is start to optimize now. If you've got 10 SKUs and 5 of them generate 80% of your revenue, think about how you can consolidate. And so take the position of optimizing for profitability, because buyers will ultimately reward you for a profitable business more so than they will a fast growth business that is running at a very, very low margin. That's a couple of points. I mean, critically, what we need to get sellers to understand is that they are often critical to the sale. So you've got to make sure that you are not only ready to provide some consultancy to a buyer, but potentially you're ready to actually still work in the business for a small period of time while the buyer transitions. And most sellers don't expect that that's going to be a requirement.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I would mention is be flexible in that pathway to exit. So there's things like seller financing that buyers are throwing out in the negotiations right now. And so you might be offered $1 million and potentially $750,000 of that is paid up front and $250,000 of that is paid in seller financing, which essentially means that there is interest payable to you on the remaining $250,000. There are also deals that are being done with stability payments. And so again, maybe it's a $5 million sale, but maybe $2.5 million of that is paid up front and the remaining $2.5 million of that is paid, assuming the asset continues to run to 90% of its prior 12-month performance. So that's a stability payment. And so you just got to be flexible in the way you end up selling, because most of the aggregators will be quite creative and clever in their deal structures.
Yeah, this is definitely something to watch out for. Also choosing the best deal. Is it possible that, if I actually list my Amazon FBA business on Flippa, is it possible to get different deals at the same time so I can actually pick and choose whichever I like the best?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And we encourage that. We, particularly for a really good quality asset, what we would encourage is that the seller and the Flippa agent work with the buyers through an expression of interest period. And so the expression of interest period will essentially put a date on the asset where we expect buyers to provide, some certainty around what their letter of intent terms would look like. And so that gives you the ability to surface multiple offers from multiple parties.
That's perfect. So I guess, this was a lot of information here. There was a lot of information here. It was super interesting. Guys, it's going to be flippa.com. Go and register there. How long does it take to register your Amazon FBA business?
If you're going to list your business in full, the actual process of creating a listing takes about an hour. If you're going to do a good job, and then there's the review process. So you typically want to put aside a couple of days, probably 2 business days, through the listing and the review process.
That's great. After the review, what happens?
You go live, and you would have buyer interest within 72 hours, assuming you had a good quality asset.
That's amazing. Is anyone gonna get in touch with the seller before the actual offer?
Yes, absolutely. So you would work with a Flippa agent always, or you would choose to be matched with a broker, and that's a third-party broker, not a Flippa representative that operates on our platform.
Okay, that's really amazing. So once again, flippa.com, check it out. Maybe just put some information before, about your listing, then do the actual, add your listing over there, list your business, your Amazon FBA business. Also keep in mind that it's never really a super quick process. So it might take some time. You might just want to list it there, then get back a few weeks later. put some updates, update some info, and be flexible. Also, this is
Yeah.
also very good advice that Blake is giving us here. Before we leave you, and before we wrap up, what is your prediction for the next year? Where is this business going?
Yeah, so look, I wouldn't say it's my prediction. I think it's an industry-wide view that the aggregator space will likely double, if not 5 times. So there's $10 billion in the space right now. There could easily be 20 to $50 billion in the space over the next 12 months. Needless to say, if you are an Amazon seller and you're performing well, you have a very, very unique opportunity right now. So my prediction is that we will see 5,000 plus $1 million plus assets sold over the next 12 months.
That's great. So guys, get ready because it's coming. And this business is just gonna get bigger and bigger. Now it's the time to optimize your store, optimize your listings, make sure you have the right sales and profit coming. If you guys need some optimization, let us know. We're the expert here. We can help you. We're already working with a lot of aggregators. If you're interested in listing your Amazon business, go check flippa.com, or probably get in touch directly with Blake or with someone in Flippa's team. Maybe get in touch with one of the Flippa agents or representative. And yeah, this is it. So Blake, thank you very much. And I guess I'll see you guys at the next time. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and give us all the support that we need. It was amazing to talk to you, Blake. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, David. Appreciate the time, and good luck out there, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.